Well, hello. I'm running a little behind today. I had problems with my camera angle, had problems with my coffee maker, but I'm here. And if you're having problems hearing me because of my dishwasher, let me know. So welcome to cooking. It's me, Deborah. If it's too dark, let me know too, because I had this weird light above me. So let me know. Let me know if you can't hear me. Let me know if there's too much background noise. And let me know if it's too dark. Okay? So welcome to cooking with me. Hey, Hannah. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining me. I got a fresh hot cup of coffee. Tastes different. I don't know why. Maybe because I used real milk. I don't know. Have not had my coffee today. So welcome. I got my knitted mug, but I think it's going to be warm today. So it's cooking with me, Deborah. I'm from the Center for Enhancing Abilities. I'm out of the Bergen location, but I serve the needs of all members and friends of our friends. So it's Tuesday. So past few weeks we've been doing cooking on Tuesdays, which I like. I see Alona. I think Alona is on. Good morning, Alona. So we've been doing a lot of goodies. Hey, Stephanie, what's up? Your mom loves my coffee cups. Well, you and your mom and me are going to have to get together after all this is over, and we will have to share some coffee together, or whatever your poison. Pick your poison, and maybe I'll bring some of my coffee cups. I've got a lot of cups. This one I really like. I forget where I got this. I don't know. Maybe I got it at Target. But I need that. I have a whole bunch of knitted. They're not really knitted, but in a pattern. I have a tea set that my neighbor got me, so I like to knit. So, welcome. I hope everybody's doing okay. News is always crazy. World is always crazy. But we have each other, and we're going to go ahead. And I know my angle is really weird, and I have a lot of reflection off of my glasses, so I apologize. But if you can't hear me because of my background noise, I'm doing the dishes. Well, I'm not doing the dishes, even though I did do some dishes. I got my dishwasher going like the millionth time, because I've been cooking so much, which I'm sure all of you have been doing. I've been doing as well. But baking is different. Baking, I find, is a little therapeutic. It's enjoyable. As a matter of fact, I don't know why, I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I made some banana bread. Maybe it's a recipe. Hey, I believe that's Allegra that's on. Good morning. We had a little bit of a change in our, hello, thank you for the shout out. A little bit of change in our schedule for today. The instructors had asked if they could switch from Facebook. So our art won't be on Facebook. It'll only be on Zoom. So if there's an issue, you can send me a message if you're joining that. They're making their own drums. And I think I sent an email. Hopefully everybody got it. It makes more sense. So that's the way we're going to do it. And then we'll have Tai Chi at the end of the day to chill out. Banana bread. You want to see my banana bread, Jamie? Hold on. Here is my banana bread. Delish. But that's not what we're making. Don't get too excited. We're not making banana bread. Another day. The reason why I had to make banana bread is I had these bananas that went overripe. So I needed to do something with them, because to get bananas in a store, is really tough. So I battled out for those bananas, and then the kids didn't eat them, so I'm like, well, banana bread. But I didn't have enough bananas, so I added some applesauce. I hope that worked. But we'll find out. I mean, it can never be bad. But today we are going to cook one of the most basics of baked goods, I guess baked items I don't know if it originates in America. I'm sure it's all over the world. But I know this is a very American-esque food. Yeah, Stephanie, you got him. He's ready to cook. He's guarding those apples that cost me a fortune because all the other apples were gone except those like organic Honey Crisp apples. But, you know, they were there, so I got them. I think David's joining us. I hope David is, unless it's his family. So welcome, welcome. But we are going to make a very basic, good morning, Christian. Good morning. You know, this like makes my day, guys, that all of you kind of come on, join my morning. I hide from my family. I hang out with you guys. Thank goodness. And I get to have my cup of coffee with you. Well, I get to do things I like to do. I love to do art. I love to do some cooking. Great, I'm so glad. I always see you guys popping up, but I don't know if it's you or if it's David. So tell David I'm super duper duper excited. I know he usually catches Tony. So tell him I feel a little flattered that he got me today. So good. We got a nice good crew going on. Later today, Duncan Run. Dude, think of me. And I think we got Jeter. So we got a big crew on. So, this is cooking or baking. We are going to be baking again today. I really like this angle. I don't like my camera angle, but you get to see my kitchen. You get to see Oreo. All the dishes you see are clean. And, because I did clean that before going on. But, what are we going to bake today? So, I've been doing a lot of, maybe high-calorie treats for you guys. What else are we going to do? Tell Adam, a.k.a. Jeter, I say hi. He's smiling, and he's always listening. He absolutely is always listening. I know he's listening. I know. Everybody's listening. Even when you don't think they're listening, they're listening. Take my word for it. People think my son Cooper doesn't, he's not paying attention. No. He's listening. And, yeah, don't underestimate anybody. I agree. So welcome. I'm so super excited that I got a whole crew of people from lots of places. Miss you all. I really do. I'd like to get back. Thanks. But, we do this for a good reason. So, hey, it seems to be working. And that's all that counts. So hopefully, at some point, you've gotten to the store. You've gotten one of the most prized items. Yes, we are going to be working with gold. No, with flour. It's as if it's gold. I think most stores now do have flour. I know I'm able to get it. So that's a good thing, depending on which day of the week you go to. So hopefully, as we work with... excuse me, as we work with cooking, a lot of it is baked items because I think it's an easy thing for us to work on. My mom calls me Miss Ears. Oh, yeah, because, you're listening. Totally. I get it. Hey, Becky, what's going on? Good to see you. I know you miss it. I didn't know the date. Yeah, I imagine it'll be rescheduled. I imagine the cabaret will be rescheduled. I don't know a great deal about the cabaret, so my apologies. That's not something I lead. But, like things worth, like that we love to do, will definitely. Simon's good. He's actually on, his school's cracking down. He's on a class Google Hangout thing. So that's why he's not here. You'll probably see him. And I'll probably have to draft Cooper in too when we do a different type of cooking thing. So thank you for asking. Thank you. I hope everybody's family is well. Their pets are well. You're well. So the mystery. I always do this to you guys. I just kind of keep you going, keep pulling you in, and you don't know what it is, and then you're probably disappointed when we find out what it is. So, I do not disappoint in disappointing you. It's not a cake. We're not making a cake. We're not making a sweetbread. We are making one of the things I remember a million years ago when I was in home ec. Yes, they taught home ec. And now they call it something else, but when I was a young whippersnapper, a young lass, they called it home ec, home economics. And I think they should call it that. I really do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that title. And one of the things that we had to learn in our cooking unit was biscuits. How to make biscuits. You can do this. Now, I have not made homemade biscuits in probably years. Thanks to Pillsbury and, McDonald's. I don't need to make biscuits, but I can't get out to my usual, or Kentucky Fried Chicken is delicious biscuits. I can't get there. So I got to make some biscuits. So that's what we're going to learn to make. I will post the recipe. The reason why I don't post it before is I'd like to test it and see, is this worth your time? And then you can always come back. So here we go. We are going to make this recipe. Puts a really high standard. It says perfect homemade biscuits. Well, if I have anything to do with it, it's probably not going to be perfect. So perfect homemade biscuits. Biscuits I've always thought they're a very American type of food. I don't know if other people eat biscuits like ours. In other countries, biscuits are not biscuits. Chime in if you know what biscuits are. Let's say if you're in the UK, they are not biscuits. I think Terrence is coming on. My coffee tastes really weird. I don't know why. It tastes really weird. I think I put something weird in it. So we shall see. Now, what we are going to do, maybe I made tea. Ugh. I don't like milk in my tea. All right. So, Terrence, what's up, man? So, we're making biscuits. So, biscuits is a very basic recipe. It's really only a few ingredients, or more, several ingredients. How about that? I'm not saying it's low in calories, so get out of here. We're just going to learn to eat in moderation. But it is flour. You want all-purpose flour. So I'm going to go through because I don't have my assistant today. He's busy doing work, schoolwork. So I've got flour, but I do have Oreo. He's all ready to go. Sugar. You need a little sugar. It's just a little bit. And I think if you want to put a sugar substitute, you can. I don't see why you couldn't. Salt. And yes, for those of you who are new, I'm not promoting any company or whatever, but if we want to sponsor, but this container is older than my children, okay? It's just something I got, I think, a long time ago. Morton's, or it doesn't matter what salt, but salt, if you don't want to use salt, I mean, I think it's such a minuscule amount. It's only a half a teaspoon if you want to cut it out because you're watching your sodium. I think you could. I don't know what that would have an effect. As Doug has told me in the past, it can affect the flavoring. I don't know if it affects the baking itself. I don't know. Baking is like a science. So you want your flour, your sugar, your salt. You're going to use, and this, from what I remember, is always the case, you're going to use baking powder. Baking powder. These are, I remember, I think they were used to call baking powder biscuits because that'll help them rise a bit, okay? So we're not using a yeast. I'm not daring enough to make yeast breads. I'm just a little scared. Now, one thing that you might not have, I don't know how old this is, but, hey, I risk my own health in science. This is something that if you're at the food store, pick it up. It's good to pick up. There's certain things that you should pick up like every so often. Sorry, had an itch on my nose. So you should, every year you should really replace a lot of baking things like your baking soda, your baking powder. I recommend. And always go through your spice rack. You should have cream of tartar. I don't know if it's tartar or tartar. Somebody tell me steak tartare is raw steak. I don't even know what the heck this stuff is. But this is like one of the few times you use it. I know you use it to make Play-Doh as well. If somebody knows why we use this in this recipe, let me know. But I always have those basics. I always have vanilla. I always have almond. I always have peppermint extracts. Always have vanilla. Always have sugar, flour, baking soda, baking powder. They're just some things you should have. As an artist, we're going to be sending out a list. As a matter of fact, maybe I should add this if somebody thinks this is good. We're making you a general list of stuff that maybe you should just have on hand to participate in all the classes, and maybe I should do that for cooking. Maybe. I don't know. Let me know. We have it for art, for other stuff. So, cream of tartar, like tartar sauce? I don't know. And then this recipe was very adamant. It's cold butter. The butter should be hard. I took it out there like cold in like capital letters, like yelling at you. You're going to need, this is quite a bit of butter, 3/4 of a cup of, so about like a stick and a half, okay, of butter. I didn't say these were, low cal, but hey, I lost so much weight now it's all coming back. It's really depressing. So, but it gives you an excuse to go jogging. An egg, okay, 1 egg, and milk. You're gonna need a cup of milk. So I'll go through again what we're adding and measuring, and you will get this recipe, okay? So I have my very high-tech apparatus. My kitchen is not high-tech. My kitchen is a pretty old kitchen, if you can't tell from the decor. And I just found out last night, the last time I painted my kitchen, it's got to be like 10 years. I can't believe that. Seems like yesterday. And I'm not doing it anytime soon. I mean, my cabinets, I don't think I painted in like 17 years. So, we clean them. So, let us begin. All right, so it's a very basic type of recipe. These would be things that you would have around your house. Other things that you'd need, obviously, are your measuring spoons and cups and scoops. Now, we're going to be using something called, I believe it's called a pastry cutter. That's what I always called it. Some of you may have this. Some of your parents may have this. I think as we get further and further from the greatest generation, I think is what some people call them. Or my parents were like little kids or babies during World War II. Not one, I'm not that old. But they always had these things in the house. And now that I'm like really old, younger people, I don't think buy these things. If you do not have a pastry cutter, it's okay. You can use, sometimes people tell you 2 forks or like a fork or 2 forks. You can use that. Now, maybe I'll try to demonstrate that. You need like a cookie cutter. Now, I don't have a round cookie cutter. So one of the things you can use, you could cut it with a knife, or you could use a glass. Okay, glass, measuring cup, something that you're going to be able to make the holes, okay? I have not done this recipe, so I have no idea how this is going to go. And it's, like I said, it's been years since I made biscuits. So the first thing we're going to do, it's a really hot oven, okay? So that's something you want to be careful. And I'm going to remove all the flammable items from my little oven over here. It's a 450 degree oven. That's pretty high. So, but that's okay. We're good with safety. I've got my cookie sheet over there. Now, this woman claims, or man, I don't know if it's a woman or a man. I don't know. This person claims that the secret to excellent biscuits is cold butter. I don't know. And they said really cold. Now, my butter is not really, really cold. I just took it out of the fridge. But, I mean, they were even saying like, maybe even like freeze it or something, like really get it really cold, okay? So they even recommend if it starts to get too warm, maybe cut it in smaller pieces and put it into the fridge. I don't know. I'm not going nuts, okay? Like, nobody got time for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine our, I like this bowl. IKEA. Okay, so we've got our bowl. We're going to need a big bowl, and we're going to combine our dry ingredients. Everybody knows what dry ingredients are. Those are ingredients that are not wet. And I don't say that to be silly. It's just good to know in case you're looking at it. Hey, Sue, what's up? So what we're going to do is we need 3 cups of flour. 3 cups of flour. Now, thing about when you're measuring, we always talk about this. Simon's very bad. Oreo's a lot better. When we measure, okay, I'm going to measure it off camera here. We want to make sure that it's exact, right? We don't want a big mound and we don't want enough. Baking is a science. Cooking is an art. Like, you know, when somebody's, that's my special, you know, spaghetti sauce or gravy, depending. That's a big controversy amongst Italian Americans. Baking is an exact science. So typically things, it'll change the whole outcome of what you're doing. So I have 1 cup in the bowl, 2 cups. I'm using a big, nice scoop. Okay. Oh, not enough. Okay. And when you are measuring, you could take a spoon, a knife, and you're going to, not maybe over the bowl that you're using, but you're gonna do it off back into the container so you have a nice level measurement. See how I have that? So, boop. We've got 3 cups of flour. So I'm gonna move my flour a little bit out of the way, because I'm not going to need it till a little bit later. So, as a matter of fact, I'm going to move this one. I have a different flour container. I'm going to move it off so I don't knock it down. We want to keep our area safe and clean. So, we have our flour. We have the sugar. So, sugar is going to add a little sweetness, just a little sweetness. And for that one, it's going to be 3 tablespoons according to this recipe. So once again, when we go through, it's nice if you have them all combined, and usually they have them listed. But if you're not a good reader, you can't see very well because it's always in small print, or it gets, if you have the plastic ones and the paint wears off, you don't know what it is. Your tablespoon is the big guy, okay? It takes up a table, right? It's usually the capital T, okay? So it's the big guy. So we need 3 tablespoons. So I've got 1 level. See, it's pretty level. 2, 3. 3 tablespoons, just a little sweetness. You know, it would taste kind of gross, I think. It tastes very bland, I think, if it didn't have a little sweetness in there. Now, we need the salt. The salt. Well, that's my New Jersey accent. Salt. The salt is actually a 1/2 teaspoon. So this is where they get a little tougher because there's a lot of them on there. I have one that's pretty cool that is all different colors. So, you know, when you're buying your stuff, see this one? That's usually pretty cool because you might begin to remember what color is which. So usually it's a tablespoon, then the next one's the teaspoon, it's the smaller one, and then it goes right down to a 1/2, okay? Usually that's how they work. Usually there's 4 to 5 of them, depending on what it is. So I'm going to pour my salt. Okay, I'm gonna kind of measure it out of the container. So I have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Hooray! Now, this one's interesting. I'm gonna need 4 teaspoons of baking powder, not baking soda. Baking soda, most people usually get in the box. That's how you can usually tell. But some companies, I think like Trader Joe's makes them in a container like this too. So we need 4 of these. This is what's going to make it rise. Okay. Now, we've talked about this in the past. Cool thing about these containers, it has a lip or like a little, I don't know, like an edge. And that helps you measure right, you know, nice and exact, level off right in the container so you don't lose any. So I think that's always cool. So use it. There's lots of things on products that we have no idea why they've been designed, and they paid engineers lots of, you know, maybe they didn't pay them lots of money, but a lot of smart people thought of things, and we have no idea, and we don't use them right. So here we are. We're just reminding you. So we need 4 of these. So we've got 4 teaspoons, 2, count along with me, 3, and 4. Hopefully that was 4. I don't know. We'll get something weird if it's not. And a 1/2 teaspoon of this cream of tartar. I'm trying to see what exactly it is. Doesn't really give me an indication. I'm not going to tell you how old mine is. I think it's time. So we need a half a teaspoon. I don't think I used the right one. Okay, so there we go. And I think I was using my half a teaspoon. So don't. I'm throwing a little extra. There we go. All right. So I think I made a mistake. I think I was using my half a teaspoon for my baking powder, and I did 4 of them. So, because I looked, and I don't think I used my teaspoon, so I don't know. I threw in some extra. So if I had 4 halves, that 2 make a whole, and another 2 make a whole, Spock. Okay, so I need to put 2 more teaspoons in there. I hope I did it right. I don't know. We'll find out if my family lives. So we've got all our dry ingredients in there, which is really cool. And what I like to do is I just like to stir them up with my. I get a whisk sometimes, because that'll really like break it all up and stuff like that. So I mixed it up just a little bit. Okay, so I've got all my dry ingredients in. Gonna take a sip of coffee. Actually, tea. I didn't realize that. I'm like, this tastes really weird. It's tea. It's tea. And if you know me, I like my coffee light and sweet, but my tea dark. Don't know why. That's just the way it is. So I made my tea light and sweet. So here we go. Okay, so we've got our dry ingredients in there. So far, so good. We can do this. Now, here's the tricky part. We're going to take our cold butter, and we're going to work the butter into the dry ingredients. So I'm going to get a knife. Okay, and we need 3/4 of a cup of butter. A lot of butter. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut. I bet my butter's not so cold. This woman or this person's going to find me and yell at me and say, your butter wasn't cold. That's why I didn't get perfect biscuits. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to, the cool thing about butter nowadays, or margarine, could you use margarine? Somebody might ask me. You might be able to. You might. I don't know. I don't know if you could. I don't know if it has the same taste. I think if you're just going to be, they're both not always the best in large amounts. You might as well just go for the butter, in my personal opinion. Some people have dairy issues, so I'd have to find a recipe for you and how you would make biscuits like vegan. I don't know. So we've got a lot of butter. We've got 3/4. And for those of you who aren't aware of it, I'm going to show this over here. Your butter tells you now. Isn't that nice? So we are going to use a pastry cutter, or you can use forks. So I'm trying to remember how people did it. They did something kind of wacky with their forks, and they mashed them in. So I have my forks for that, but we're gonna figure this out. I'm gonna use a pastry cutter. So usually it has a handle. My mom had like one that looked more medieval than this one. You can get these really cheap probably anywhere. So we're going to put the butter in here. Don't go too crazy, they said here. You want to see small pea-sized butter throughout the dough. So I probably did this wrong. I just went nuts. I put in all my butter. All right, so there you go. There's all my butter. And what I'm going to start to do, it's going to be hard for me to do it on an angle because all the butter and everything will fly out. But as you can see, what I'm doing is, see how this is kind of getting in there? And be careful. I don't think they're incredibly sharp, but you shouldn't really be running your fingers along a pastry cutter. What you're doing is you're kind of doing this movement with your arms. So feel free, get somebody to help you out. You might have done this at the centers, okay? So what we're doing, this is called cutting in. Hey, it's Jamie, and she loves biscuits. Well, girl, we got you covered. We got you covered. So happy to have Jamie. So as you can see, I'm trying to do it fast so you're not falling asleep. And my special level, it's actually protein powder or powdered fiber jugs. I'm coming in here and I'm just trying to find spots where I can make and break up this butter. It's actually really good if you've got, you had a bad day or something like that, or you're really mad, people like, get your aggressions out, right? Say, I'm gonna cut in some butter. Okay, and the reason why, and I don't know if somebody knows this or not, I imagine the reason why your pastry cutter is curved is you're working it into a bowl. So the idea is you're kind of doing this shape, so it's getting all over. You're working into, see how my arm is working into that round shape? Good. Now, if you didn't have one of these weird looking torture devices, that's okay. That's okay. Some people, like I said, most of us now get our stuff made. Thanks, Pillsbury. You can come in with your forks. I find this works better, but I don't think that's the way you're supposed to do it. But I kind of come across and I pull. So that's another way you can do it. If other people have other methods that work better, please let us know. But you can use a fork. You could, I guess, use your hands. I guess if you had to, you could a little bit, but you don't need to break them up completely. They said pea size. I mean, I don't know. Mine might be a little bit bigger than peas, but you can see how now it's kind of all broken up. It doesn't look super, whoops. It doesn't look super small, but I'm putting my hands in there. I can feel like all these little lumps and things, which actually, as they melt, probably taste delicious. Alrighty, so we've got that done, right? That wasn't too bad. I mean, we could probably go back maybe a little bit more. I don't know. I think we're pretty good. It looks pretty good to me. What do you guys think? Oop, I don't want to miss any of that butter. Ooh. Never want to miss any of that butter. Alrighty, so we put that in there. This person told us we don't have to go crazy. We don't have to break everything up. We're going to see some lumps. We're going to see some pea-sized bits of butter in there. Now, we're going to add the milk and the egg, and we're going to mix until the ingredients are just combined. So this is going to get a little messy because eventually it's going to turn this dough, and we might need a little bit more flour. So what I recommend is maybe have a little bowl of additional flour handy whenever you're doing baking, because you're gonna maybe go in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut my egg. I'm gonna break my egg first, put it in a bowl. So when I add my milk and when I add my egg, it all gets added in at the same time. Okay? So one egg. That's right. I like to use brown eggs. I imagine you could use an egg substitute if you don't want eggs. And I just totally botched this up. And one of the reasons, does anybody know, one of the reasons why we break an egg also in a separate bowl? Does anybody? There's a really good reason for it. Eggs have shells, and we don't want the shells. All right, so that's usually why we do that as well. So what we're gonna do is we need 1 egg and we need 1 cup of milk. So I'm gonna measure all my ingredients, so boom, boom, I can add it all in pretty fast. So I'm going to measure 1 cup. Now I'm using fat-free milk because it's just what I got. Okay, so I don't know, didn't say one way or the other. I think it's really up to you. So I'm going to pour that in. See how that goes in? Yum. And I guess it doesn't say I got to break up the egg or anything. I'm just going to plop that sucker in there. Boop, right in there. Great. Now we're going to mix it until the ingredients just combine. So this is where it's going to get risky. Ooh, it's a little tough here. Oh, it's really gloppy. Got to get some elbow grease in here. Oh my. I might have to use my hands. Now they tell you the dough. Now there's different things. There's a dough and a batter. Okay? So a dough is more like this. So I'm gonna use it with my hands. Ooh. Okay, here's my spatula. This is our dough. The dough is much more gloppy. Okay, it's thick. It's like you could hold it, you know? And I'm just kind of working in the rest of the the flour into this. Okay, so I'm going to show you the dough in just a second because I'm trying to get all that delicious flour and butter. Well, it's sticking to my hands. And when you're working your dough, you can move it around. See how I'm kind of moving it to turning it over, right? Here I'm gonna move it a bit so I can really get all that last flour, everything in the bowl. See how I'm doing that? I'm kind of moving it around, kind of picks it up. The flour sticks to the wetness of the dough. A batter, so let's say you did this and you have something very liquidy where it's just really pouring out. For a biscuit, you didn't do that right, okay? When we make breads, like certain kinds of breads, not all, many breads use a dough. That's the confusion. Here, we've got a biscuit dough. Some of it fell on my shoe. There you go. A dough is kind of keeps a certain amount of shape, but it's pretty soft. A batter is very liquidy. It's a liquid mixture, and you pour that into a bread loaf pan maybe, or muffins usually are a batter or something like that. Okay, now this looks pretty good. What do you guys think? That's worked so far. That's worked so far. I think it's pretty good. It's a little sticky, so what I'm going to do is I don't have a very big surface because you won't be able to see it, and I think you can see it on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take half the dough so I can put it here, okay? And what I'm going to do is I don't want it too sticky so it sticks to my everything, okay? So I'm using a little extra flour. That will always help when you notice your doughs. Let's say you make a pizza. Remember we were doing that, and it's too like sticky. It's, you know, it's not a batter, it's a dough, but it's really sticky. Every time you touch it, it sticks to your hands. That means you need a little extra flour. Right now, it's nice and dry. So we kneaded it when it was in the bowl about 10 to 15 times. I think we did that while we were sitting here talking. Okay, if it's still too sticky, you're going to add a little bit of flour. I usually like to sprinkle it. You saw me sprinkling it. You're sprinkling on my counter. You can get a cutting board, and that'll help there too. All right, now we need to pat this dough down. I was getting excited. I thought I was going to get my rolling pin so I could, threaten my kids, but no rolling pins. So what we're going to do is we're just going to flatten this to about 1 inch thick. Okay? I don't know. Does anybody not? I don't think you need to get a ruler out. As long as you do it, 1 inch is, well, that's not going to help you. But I'm trying to think of usually what 1 inch is. I don't know. It's usually about like the top part of your thumb. Okay? Then what you're going to do, and this will help me. I wish they told me how many muffins. Oh, makes 12. All right, makes 12. Maybe I should read it first. So I don't have a basic round cookie cutter. I have stars. I have gingerbread people. I've got all these other weird, crazy shapes, but I don't have a round shape. This, you're gonna want a round shape. So what you can do is you could take a measuring cup, but I think like a glass, something like that, and we're gonna push down. Ooh, 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 I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, look, he's so cute. I'm so excited. Sorry, everybody, I just lost it because this is like the cutest thing ever. So, I love it when a plan comes together. I love it when things work. So I'm going to show you again, and I'm going to get my cookie sheet. My cookie sheet's a nonstick. Doesn't say really anything about it. Doesn't say. They make it on a lightly greased. Mine is non-stick. It's pretty good. But maybe you take one of those sprays, or you put a little bit of butter. If you got a little bit of butter on your cookie sheet, something like that. I'm going to try it here. So what we're going to do is, again, I think you guys can see it. We're going to pat out our dough to make it into about an inch thick. Okay, about an inch thick. I don't think you want them too thin. You definitely don't want them too thick. So I don't know how that helps you. But what you're going to do is I'm using a regular glass. Okay, I'm using like a juice glass. I don't think you want one really big. That's what I had, different containers. I had one of these. This would be like a mega jumbo biscuit. I didn't want that. So I picked like, kind of a small, definitely like maybe 2 inches across. And I'm going to take it, I'm going to push it down and twist. Do a little bit of the twist. I hear some pitter patter of little feet. Wonder who it could be. And here is a biscuit. I'm just so excited. Look at this. Come on in, say hi. Look at what we made. How was school?
I'm still having school.
Then you should be up there. I know this
hungry.
is. Well, we'll send you some food up in a minute. We'll send you some fresh biscuits. Once again, take your cup. Oop. Thank you. Okay? We're putting them on. Okay? I'm just making a bunch. Okay? Wowee. Who here likes biscuits and gravy? Has anybody ever had that? That's a nice southern thing. Now, when you are working with dough, this is what's really frustrating, especially I make a lot of gingerbread men. I'm famous for my hairy chest gingerbread men. I use sprinkles for their chest hair because I don't know how to decorate cookies. So what you do is when you cut all your cookies out, you have all the holes. So you're going to gather up your dough again, make it a nice ball, and push it down. Same thing, okay? Maybe I might want to add a little extra flour so my cup doesn't stick. About an inch, we said, about an inch. This is nice. All you need to do is just pat it down. I like that. I guess if you wanted to get a rolling pin, you could. And once again, I take my cup and, I'm going for it. I'm making all 3 at once. All at once. I can't believe I made biscuits. So here we go. Let me see how many more I can get out of this. I used about half my dough, and then I'm going to put it in the oven, and we're going to find out how long it takes. It's about 10 minutes. So I don't know, maybe while we're working on the rest of them, they might be done before we finish. So once again, I'm patting out, trying not to drop my glass, trying to get that, I'm trying to work that I get, I don't know how many I have. I think I only had 9. Maybe my biscuits are really big biscuits. Maybe that's my problem. I don't know. I'm kind of like go big or go home type of person. Alrighty, so I have my biscuits. I'm going to show you my tray, my first batch. Okay, here we go. If you needed to grease it, they look pretty good to me. They look delish. I think I'm going to start my own restaurant when I'm done. And this is going to go into a 450, let me just make sure so I don't burn everything. Always double check. Never be embarrassed that you have to check. Okay, so it's a 450 degree oven. So I'm going to put it into my little oven. I've got one of these, whatchamacallit, like air fryer. It's a Ninja thing, and I really dig it. It's pretty cool. It does all the let's see, let me go up to 450. It will. And then we're going to go to time. And it said, my oven's pretty good. It said about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to do 10 minutes. All right, there we go. Now, there's things that you could do. You could also, if you have a little melted butter, I didn't do this. I didn't do it. But what you could do is melt a little butter and brush a little butter on to your biscuits before you put them in. That's nice. I like to do that with pizza crust with some olive oil. And there's some other stuff that you could do. You can make these into herb biscuits. Right now, I just went out to my herb garden, which is like kind of destroyed because I didn't take very good care of it last year. I'm a little embarrassed. Yesterday we were talking to Sue, and she had such a wonderful garden in the past, and I bet she's great at container gardens if she continues to go and do some more. My herb garden is like, but my borage came up and my chives came up. So chives are usually early in the season. You can go out, cut some of those, but you might have some dried herbs in there, and you could maybe mix them in, or you could mix some, sometimes when you get the soft butter, you can mix some herbs in with your butter, and then you could spread that on. Ooh, that sounds so good, so good. But I'm just gonna go through one more time to kill some time to see if how these look. I'd like you to see them. So once again, we took our dough. I split my dough in half. I like to do that, especially if you're working with other people. You both can work separately, together but separate. That's kind of what we're doing, I think, here. So once again, I'm working with my glass, okay? I have it spread out with my hands. I didn't even need a rolling pin. If you didn't have a rolling pin, I'm curious if other people use other stuff for rolling pins. Like a can, I don't think would work. I'm trying to think of what a water bottle might work, or one of those big mugs that, that I was using yesterday for my coffee. That might work. Just something round and smooth. So you could use that if you needed to do that. But this is really good, and it's not sticky. It's not really sticky. So if you're the type of person that like, ew, I don't like that kind of stuff on my hands, once you add a little bit of flour, it's good. It's not gross. It's not gross at all. So we patted it down to an inch thick. We're taking our cup. I like the cup. Usually cookie cutters, they may have like a little handle that helps you push down. They're good. They're good. Don't get me wrong. But I would pick a tall cup. If you pick something like this, like a measuring cup, you could. Your problem is your handle, and it'll smush down the other part of your dough. So you really need something without a handle, or at least the handle's far away so you can do that. Now, a tall glass is good because it gives you a lot more leverage. So see how I push down and then I twist, and I get a little poof of flour. How exciting is that? And once again, you get these biscuits. That Kentucky Fried Chicken is going to come to my house and say, Deborah, save our restaurant. So I'm looking, and they're rising. They're rising in my little oven. One more time. We're going to do this. This recipe says it makes about 12 muffins. As I said, I tend to make things a little bit bigger. So I don't know if I'm going to get fully 12. And my muffins are probably a little thick, because I'm a little thick, and that's okay. We all come in different shapes and sizes for a reason. It's the way we're made. It's excellent. Oh, I can hear them doing their thing. They're cooking. Alrighty. So far I have 1, 2, 3. I have 7 here. So let's see how many I can make coming in. Okay. Has anyone here ever made biscuits? Has anybody made them? And they're different than muffins. Muffins are a completely different thing. Usually muffins are sweet, and they also need a very high temperature too. Muffins usually need it. I think it's to get them to rise. Typically, if you look at muffin recipes, they're pretty high temperature to cook. Okay, so I can see, if you're looking, you might have like, let me see if I can hold this. You're gonna have like chunks of butter. Ooh wee. Now the question becomes, what are we going to eat our biscuits with? We talked a little bit about butter, and maybe you go to your garden if you have an herb garden, or you go to your spice rack and you can mix a little herbs. I like chives, but a little herbs to season your butter, and you can wipe that on. What else do some people use to make their biscuits with? Jams. Could use jam or jelly, but a biggie in, especially in the South, they make like a gravy. Make cheese rolls. I don't see why you couldn't. You know, that's a really great idea, and I might have to try that, Stephanie. You know, I'm wondering if we, for this muffin recipe, I'm just adding a little flour, we take a little bit of shredded cheese. Oh my goodness, and we could put a little shredded cheese in there too. But I don't see why you couldn't use your dough, put some cheese in and fold it over, if that's what you're talking about, like a cheese roll. I don't see why you couldn't do it, girl. I think it might be not bad. I think that sounds delish. Okay, so definitely you could have cheese, but I'm thinking jams. Does anybody here, has anyone here ever had like the Southern biscuits and gravy? I've had them. I don't know if they're like real, you know. I guess I'm just gonna make this one. I came with the last one and I didn't even use my cup, and so I'm just gonna make it. So let's see how many I made. Okay, so I have 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I got quite a few. So maybe I made mine smaller. Maybe I made them smaller. Oh my gosh, you've got to stick around. I know some of you are getting ready for whatever, next class, or you're gonna go for a walk, but you've got to stick around. I am like so amazed. Doesn't mean they're gonna taste good, but I am so amazed at how these little suckers are coming out. I'm really flabbergasted. So we only got a couple of minutes left on that. So let's talk about it. You can use jams. You can use jellies. You could do cheese. You could turn these into like, sometimes you eat them with your breakfast. Something like that might be delicious. Very easy to make jams. You know, jams are really kind of just boiling down a lot of fruit. That's something maybe we can do. I just made some berry salad, or like a fruit salad, berry salad. Fruit salad with some berries, and maybe you could put them on. You could do a little whipped cream, turn them into a dessert. But I definitely like them with my breakfast or my morning cup of coffee with a little bit of butter. Open them up. They should be flaky. We're going to find out if they're flaky or not. But with butter and a little maybe strawberry jam, strawberry rhubarb, ooh-wee. Lemon curd, I don't know. I don't know if I'd really like that for my biscuits. I don't know. But let me know, what's your favorite jam? What's your favorite jam? Maybe I have it here and I can give it a shot and try it, because I think I would enjoy that. So what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to take these suckers out because I think they're ready, even though it says they've got a couple of more minutes. So I'm going to get my gloves. We're going to talk about safety, because we don't want these to burn. We don't want these suckers to burn. So let's get them out. Okay, so I'm right here by my oven. I have my oven mitts. Okay, it's really heated up. My oven mitts that have seen better days. What do you guys think? What do you think? I think that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on. I'm going to grab one. If I can close my oven so you guys can see them. Okay, so I don't know, we're gonna do one. Maybe they didn't rise as much as I thought. So let me get one on a plate and we'll see what they look like and how they taste. Okay, so I'm going over. Ooh, I'm gonna take this guy. Now, first thing I notice, I think if you put a little butter on them before you put them in, they'd be a little bit shinier, a little goldier. So that may be something I try with my next batch. I don't know. But right now I can see, like sometimes biscuits are very heavy. These are pretty light when I pick them up. And see how they kind of fluffed up, right? See how they fluffed up like that? So should I? I'm going to break it open. Ooh, not to burn my hand. Ooh, they're very hot. Ooh. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Now, here's the test. We've got to see how they taste. So they're super hot, and I don't want to burn myself. Ooh, they're just like flaky, like the other ones. Okay. I know you guys watch. They smell pretty good. They smell like a biscuit that I would have gotten anywhere else. Biscuits have a very distinct smell, like a flour kind of smell. Okay. Not bad at all. They taste like biscuits. I think I need a little, could have used maybe a little bit more salt, maybe cheese, like Stephanie said. But it's a biscuit. It works. It works, and they're very good. Now I got something else to eat. Now I got to figure out and make that gravy. Or take some jam. I can taste that butter. Sorry, guys. Some of you know I get really excited over food. These are good. So, I give this, one of my problems is my oven. I use this old one. I might have cooked it too long. So it burned a little bit of my bottoms here. All right, that's okay. Wowee, I feel like I've been transported to the South. Maybe I don't want to go now, but delicious, delicious. So what I'm going to do is, this didn't take us very long. Sorry, I'm talking my mouth full. I really recommend this. Can you do this gluten-free? I don't know. Give it a shot. Why not? I don't know why you couldn't do it gluten-free. Maybe they don't raise the same way. Could you make it vegan? I'd have to. They are, Jamie. They do. I'm so proud of myself. You know, I made biscuits when I was 14 in home economics. I'm not going to tell you how old I am now. I know I made them later on in my life, but not that much. So, you know, I can count the number of times I made biscuits on one hand. I'm pretty sure. From scratch. So, I really recommend this. Maybe you can experiment with different things, but it is a very basic recipe to make biscuits. All right, to review, you're going to need flour. You're going to need a little bit of sugar. You're going to need a little bit of salt. You're going to need some baking powder. That's what's going to help them rise. You're going to need cream of tartar. I don't know if you can replace it, how important that is. I think that has something to do with help them rise, but you're going to need to find that if you don't have it. You're going to need butter. You're going to need an egg, and you're going to need milk. Very basic ingredients. And let me tell you, you will have delicious biscuits for breakfast or for dinner. And invite me over because I think these are great. I'm going to post this on our Facebook page so you can follow along and give it a try. I really recommend it. It seems intimidating, but it's not. This is a basic recipe, and it's worth it. You'll feel very proud of yourself that you made this. You really will. So later today, 12:30, there will be no Facebook class. When I do Zoom, I do them both. So it'll be art. It's making your own drum, and Stacy and Tony, I think, are going to be working together for that. Hopefully Tony can join her. So you're going to grab whatever you can around your house. On the email, I gave you a list, but it could be any kind of containers, bowls, cups, whatever you can grab. It's one of those types of things, so you'll all be exploring together how to make your own instrument. And then at 2:30, I will be back and we will do some relaxation together. So I think that'll be fun. And then tomorrow's Wednesday, and it's a whole nother day. So thank you so much for joining me for cooking. I'll see you all later. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you when I see you. And have a wonderful day. Try this. They're delish. Goodbye, everyone.